If I remember, they said they felt that way. They had to win it in 2 because this week was going to be bad for them.
Yep.
They did say that. That was before it got.
They just didn't know how bad it was going to get.
They thought it was going to be bad when they had their whole team together, right? They didn't realize how bad it was going to end up being actually meant.
Well, again, maybe they know more than they're saying.
Or less.
Right. Welcome to Atlas Balked, the weekly chronicle concerning the mundane, weird, and maybe even sometimes dramatic happenings of a simple fantasy baseball league. This podcast captures the thoughts and musings of Greg, Joe, Jack, and Tim, 4 of the 10 owners in the league. Download this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you get your multi-charger podcast content. You can also connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and email. DM us or send us a note at atlasbalked@gmail.com. This is episode 77 entitled The Tattoo Incident. Well, good morning, Balked Nation. We're so happy that you're here listening to this with us. Let's say hello to the guys. GK, it's great to see you. Welcome back.
It's good to be back. Thank you. Good morning.
J-Lo, how are you doing?
I'm feeling better than Antonio Brown with an unlimited cell plan.
Just stupid.
Wasn't real smart.
Yeah.
I think the head injury theory is
more and more looking likely.
And Swag, Mr. Swagger, how are you?
What's happening, fellas? I'm doing good. You guys know that the gaming industry last year made twice as much money as the music and the film industry combined?
No way.
Wow.
I've never played this game myself. I'm a little older, but collectively, mankind has spent 6 million years playing World of Warcraft, which is about as long as we've spent evolving as a species. So,
wow.
What does that stat mean?
I mean, which one? The second one?
If you added up all the hours played on that game, it would be 6 million years.
How can they possibly know that?
Because if you have 1 million people playing at the same time,
How do they know what you're playing?
Because you log on. It's like on the net.
Oh, it's not like a game on a disc or something.
It's not like an Atari 2600.
Right. Joe,
You put in an 8-track. And
Joe's last video game is that handheld football with the dashes where you go up.
I have a baseball one too.
Anyway, yeah, a lot of money. $140 billion industry, the gaming industry.
Wow. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
We're a bunch of fucking middle-aged guys talking about baseball, so I guess there's
true. We're not. Yeah,
sure a lot of Balked Nation isn't sitting there going, "Really? They didn't know about that?" Like, yeah, no shit, guys. Like, obviously,
I just automatically distrust anybody that has a nice round number when they give a fact. So it sounds like somebody made up.
It's such an asshole. 137.9 billion. The film industry was 41.5, not 40. I'm sorry, Joe. And the music industry was 19.3. I called it 20. I just tried to make it a little easier.
Yeah. To be fair, he is actually
To be fair,
the whole point of it wasn't the accuracy of the numbers. It was to kind of give you a sense of what we're playing in. So
at first I thought Jack was talking about Mankind the Wrestler. Mankind the Wrestler plays World of Warcraft?
he plays a lot of video games.
should we move over to the Dreamers? Oh my God. Swag and I had a chance to talk earlier in the week, and we were talking about the score of the game and that we're not going to be able to call the game on Sunday, obviously, right? And that's what we were saying, Swag, right? We're able to fucking call the game today, right? I mean,
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's done.
The Crispy Chickens will be crowned the champions of the Juiceless League.
Yeah.
That is as prognosticated by GK. Exactly how he said it would go down.
Mm-hmm.
We did have a talk last week, GK, about it seemed like you had discovered something where you were able to kind of put this hex on a team when you threw your weight behind them. And we saw it with, you took Swag out, and then right after you called the Dreamers the eventual champions, that lock it in, it's a certainty. That Tuesday they spoke up and boom.
Yelich went down or Martinez go down and
Rizzo,
Sanchez.
What happened?
Scotty lined up Dusty and Eldon and fucked them both in the mouth.
Well, I guess if ever that phrase was appropriate,
Yeah.
this week would be the case.
Line up, boys.
You know, Scotty has that queued up in his phone, but he just doesn't want to say
Yeah.
anything before the game's over because obviously he doesn't want the same curse.
I think he could say it now.
Yeah.
No, I was going after what happened last week, even someone with a 13-point lead on a Sunday is going to keep their fucking mouth shut for another 24 hours. I don't know that I've seen a complete shutdown, whether it be due to injury, whether it be just players stopping, hitting, like just a complete shutdown. Again, outside of the short week, I don't remember the Dreamers being in the 20s on the weekend, nevertheless on a Sunday.
Even Pops probably would outscore him this week.
I think that the Dreamers as a team, the players, as good as they didn't feel that support from ownership.
That might have been it.
Because the owners never bragged on them. They never put it out there that they were going to win.
That's true.
God knows these owners don't give a damn about me, so I'm gonna protect myself and sit this one out. Yeah, that's the only thing I could figure. Or like the 1919 White Sox, gamblers somehow got to the Monday. So what's the Dreamers' new name? Like the Black Sox instead of the White Sox. Are they the Bad Dreamers? Are they the Nightmares?
Screamers.
Ooh, nice.
Are they the Wet Dreamers? I don't know.
The Night Terrors?
Yeah.
Sleepwalkers?
The Insomniacs? I don't know. The Cold Hard Realiteers?
Given all the star power on both teams, who would have thought that Jonathan Villar, second baseman for Baltimore, would be by far the highest scoring player?
Series MVP.
Jonathan Villar.
Well, obviously, Scotty's connected with his team a little bit more strongly than the Mondays have because his role players are coming through for him, whereas the Dreamers players, they just don't want to play for those two. So I blame Dusty and Eldon personally for this face that they're getting.
Let's as much time as we spent talking about them, and God, they have deserved it. Let's give Scotty a little credit here, right? So you just mentioned Villar. Scotty played 6 playoff games, right? Went to 3, both series went to 3 games, right? Out of the 6th, he only used Jonathan Villar 3 times, and all 3 times he had better than a 5. So I had mentioned it in my series that if anything, I had been outmanaged by Scotty. That's a hell of a feat when you're in the finals, you're switching guys, just switching guys out in the finals is, but to be able to switch a guy out, use him half the time in the playoffs and get better than 15, 16 points out of him is pretty impressive.
He's our Sabermetrics owner, right?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
The mid-ball wizard.
Unbelievable. Now, what's interesting, too, is that this is the second team to win the World Series in the last 3 years that came in with the worst record and obviously not a lot of support from any of us.
Except for me. I gave them support. I predicted they'd win it all.
Yeah.
You've picked so many different teams. I don't know. You've got a point.
It changes every week.
He does have a point there.
Right. I just don't know when.
But when we did our official predictions, yes, Greg did actually pick this all the way through. Yes, he did.
He said it would be an all expansion team World Series,
Yes.
and he picked the Chickens, right?
That is correct.
And then since then, he has picked you. He's picked the Dreamers.
No, since then, right? Those aren't predictions; those are his attempts at curses. The only reason, yes, he didn't. He never picked me. He didn't want me to win. He wanted to diminish. He did the same thing with the Dreamers. He knows that at that point, his effort towards it will bring them down. And
I know that I have the power to curse franchise.
Right. Correct. Yep.
So don't fuck with me.
It's there, folks, and I have the power to end this segment. So we are going to show mercy to the Dreamers and just say, God damn, guys, great run, but holy crap,
you get him next year, Tiger.
Yeah, make sure Scotty wears a condom when he face fucks you guys. You don't know where that guy's been.
Yeah. So, but hey, you know what? Locker Nation is really interested, Greg. We have had a lot of interest, a lot of direct messages coming. They want to know where you were. They want to know what was happening. They want to know the truth. And I think in this case, the truth could be pretty entertaining.
It was crazy. Let me just start this up.
Welcome back, bots. So last week, obviously, we all missed GK. Glad you're okay, GK. And
can I jump in real quick? I just being a part of it last week and going through it, I would like to just take a moment now that I've been on that end of it, and I would like to apologize for GK to all of the folks in the world that have been ghosted by him, because I understand it's not a very good feeling. You're kind of torn between like mad and concerned, and it's go fuck yourself, and then you can just be one of the emotions. But when you're ghosting, is he okay? I don't give a fuck if he's okay, but is he okay? It's a turmoil of emotions. So again, on behalf of GK, I'd like to apologize to everyone else that's felt that over the years.
We did run the gamut, didn't we? We were kind of, I guess each of us kind of represented a portion of that. J-Lo, you actually painted a very dark picture. When I listened to that again,
That's surprising.
Oh my God, I felt like a movie scene, like Greg was like, kind of bleeding out. And I thought, God, I really do hope. And then of course we did get the texting. So we knew you were okay. But
Guys don't get ghosted by ghosters, just so you all know. It's only girls who get ghosted by ghosters.
So you're saying there are no gay ghosts?
Well, no, I'm saying by me. For me as a ghoster, I don't ghost guys. I only ghost girls. So you didn't get ghosted. It was just it was a situation beyond my control, and and as Tim mentioned, so we listeners, we realized that there are, once they determine I'm safe, in terms of the way that it was handled, there are two guys on this podcast who understand bro code, and there's one curmudgeonly old fart who doesn't. So it's okay.
I just think it's fascinating that you ghosted us, and now you're telling us that we're wrong, and you still ghosted us.
Hey, I am the ghost king, so that's what I do.
Yeah, this is part of the whole. Go ahead.
yeah.
He's not only ghosting us, he's abusing us emotionally.
Right.
Well, I said two of you understand bro code, and one is a curmudgeonly old earplug wearing fart who doesn't. Listeners, there's been, we're approaching 80 episodes of this podcast, and I think that I've been, mostly as reliable as anybody else on this podcast, with maybe the exception of our beloved host.
You've missed as many podcasts in the last month as the Dreamers have playoff victories.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. When my father had just passed away, I was in Pittsburgh. I took my microphone with me.
You did.
And did a podcast, the day before my father's funeral. So I'm not dedicated. So, come on. But yeah, it was quite an unusual circumstance. It was a quiet Saturday night where I was actually in bed relaxing at like 8:45, just watching movies in bed, chilling out.
Is there an IKEA catalog in your bedroom?
No. But I did pass an IKEA last night, and if I didn't need my phone for directions for where I was going, I would have snapped a photo. But I was like, oh, nope, I'm not quite sure where I'm going. So I better keep my phone, using it for GPS. But I digress. Quiet Saturday night, nothing going on. And I start getting messaged by this girl. I've known this girl just for a little while, not long. She lives about an hour or so north of me. Okay. And so anyway, she tells me that she's at this, she has this timeshare thing, and she's in my area, like just a couple of miles from where I am. And, it's like chit chat. We've chit chatted before. I've met her before. But then after a couple, maybe 20 minutes of chit chat, she was like, hey, why don't we meet for a drink? And I won't lie, listeners, she's an attractive girl. And so I was like, yeah, sure. Well, I have nothing to do. I'm lying here in bed, But I didn't think anything would really come of this, it was just a drink. So I get ready, I hop in an Uber, I meet her up at a bar, and we have some drinks. Then we move on to another bar, and we're drinking. We were connecting. We closed down this bar, and then she was like, I know I haven't known you that long, but you seem very trustworthy. Why don't you come back and we'll have some more drinks at my timeshare? I was like, okay, sure. And so we're in her, it's basically just a hotel, but we're in this hotel, and we're drinking more. We're having more, conversation. And she was like, you know what? I never do this. I never let, people I don't know well, I would never bring somebody back, but you just seem like a nice person.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, hey, I am a nice guy.
Oh, that's
every serial killer ever.
Exactly. Yeah, I saw Bundy say that a few times.
Right.
But then she said, but if you weren't, you should know I have a gun.
Oh.
And I was like, oh.
Just in case. All right. Well, good for her.
And she was like, do you want to see my gun? And immediately I thought of The Natural.
That's where your mind went.
Yeah, immediately I was like, oh my God, this is just like The Natural. Yeah. And then I started searching my memory. I was like, did she ask me ever, are you the greatest ghoster of all time? But she hadn't, so I stuck around and kept drinking. I don't know. The hours blurred. We were up till like 5 or 6 in the morning. Honestly, guys, even on a Saturday night where I go out drinking, I start early and I'm in bed by midnight, 1 at the very latest.
Mm-hmm.
And I get up early. But I stayed up so fucking late, and I was and my cell phone died. I have this iPhone that the battery has been degraded for a long time, but I'm just too fucking lazy to go and get it replaced. And so I just keep it charged all the time. I'm always in low battery mode, and I've gotten used to living that way. You know what I mean? But I didn't plan on any of this. So I wake up and it's like 9:40 and my phone is a brick, And I'm like, fuck my life. I Ubered there, so I had no phone to get an Uber, and I just woke up. Like I didn't, want to run out the fucking door on this girl.
Yes, you did. The second thought was, I'm going to miss the podcast. The first thought was, I'm going to have to talk to this chick again.
No, yeah, it was like, oh shit, what am I going to do? Honestly, I don't, obviously, I don't know anybody's phone number. Couldn't send an email.
Yeah,
I was like, I just had to. I mean, in that moment, I just accepted the fact that like I'm going to miss this podcast. These guys are going to be upset with me. I hope that they're all, understand bro code, and I assume that at least you all did, but I was wrong a little bit. I just had to accept it. I just had to go with it. And then this girl's like, hey, let's go have breakfast and let's take a walk on the beach. And I was like, I'm in my clothes from last night. This girl's putting on her bathing suit. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I probably need to get home to like change. She was like, oh, you know what we should do today? Like, it was just all this assumed like togetherness, and yeah, again, ghosters ghost because they're coward. Like, I don't ghost girls who are standing right in front of me. I need to have a safe distance to ghost from. So I just went along with it. Like I was like, oh yeah, okay.
I don't have a plan for this.
Let's go walk on the beach, And so we went down and we walked on the fucking beach, and she jumped in the ocean. She's like, come in. I'm like, I'm in my clothes. I'm in my clothes from last night. It's shorts and a t-shirt, yes, but I'm not going to have nothing to change into. I'm not going to jump in the ocean. She splashed around for a little bit, and then we got back to the room, and I was like, can I use your phone to call a cab? She's like, oh, what kind of phone do you have? This was another strange thing. She had like an Android, but yet she had a bag full of chargers for every make and model of phone.
Yeah.
In the history of stuff.
I don't do this very often, but I have a change of clothes for you in your size. And
yeah, so I was like, oh, you have an iPhone. And I don't have a new iPhone. I have like an iPhone 5, or something like
got
that.
it. Yep, covered.
Yeah, so I charged my phone, and that's when I texted you guys that I was okay. And so then I'm sitting there in this hotel room watching like television, and she's showering and changing. She gets dressed, and she was like, well, let's go to your place so you can change clothes and get ready.
Oh boy.
So off we go to my place. And I change clothes, and then she's like, let's go to Shooters. Shooters is this school restaurant bar in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah. And so we went she's like, they have this live band. They have live, acoustic music on Sundays. For a girl who lived an hour and a half north, she sure knew a lot about this area.
Well, yeah, obviously she has a whole system going on here where she comes down with changes of clothes and chargers and all kinds of stuff.
Well, she didn't give me a change of clothes, but anyway.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking our curse might have worked.
Yeah.
Right?
Got a clinger.
Guys, this was awkward, but I mean, I wouldn't describe it as a curse. It hadn't been an unpleasant experience,
Of course you wouldn't.
so far. But so
just
we go.
long.
Exactly. Off we go to Shooters. With this job, the hours that I work in this job, I tend not to drink on Sundays. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm cowardly, so I was like, okay, give me some drinks. we're listening to music, we're drinking, we're eating, we're chatting. You know, the conversation was good and easy. We had a lot to talk about, and so we're just doing our thing, listening to music. And around 3:00, she was like, you know, we should go sing karaoke tonight. And I was like, okay. And so she's like, do you know where any karaoke bars are? And I was like, yeah, I actually do. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is going to be terrible.
You got no space. This is like full smother right here, right?
Yeah, right. But then you know, so yeah, then we're she has one little tattoo on her foot, like a tiny little thing on her foot, and she's looking at my tattoos and asking me of this or that, and she was like, you know, like in more drinks, and then she was like, I'm going to stop drinking because my ice keeps melting. I'm just going to start doing shots, and I was like, okay,
because my ice keeps melting, I'm going to start doing shots. That's
yeah.
Love it.
And so she was like, you know what we should do today is get tattoos. And so, like, listen, I always have a million ideas for tattoos that I want. That's never, I always can think of things. And I was like, well, the place that I go to closes at 6 and it's like 3:30 right now. You know, we couldn't get anything too big. Let me call them and see if they even have, availability. So I call and they're like, yeah, sure, Greg, we can get you in. And I described, like, we're both going to get something pretty small. And the shop manager is like, yeah, sure, come on over. And so I said, okay, well, let's finish our drinks. We got to get over there if we're going to get this done before 6. So we arrive at 4.
So this is your place, your tattoo
my place. Yeah,
you
my
brought
place.
her to your place. Okay.
Yes. And she was like, do you vouch? Like, I'd already deduced, like, she's a dramatic person. like there was a couple, like she's high maintenance. Let's put it that way. Because, like, at the bar, she wanted like 8 limes, and then it's like, blah, like she had all these very specific things.
8 what?
8 limes for her drink.
Limes.
Like,
okay.
Limes.
Okay.
Like the timeshare, the Wi-Fi was out in the building as we walked to the ocean, then back from the ocean. Mentioned it to every single employee. Like, when's that Wi-Fi going to get fixed? Like, she was telling guests in the elevator, like, do you believe the fucking Wi-Fi situation? Like, she was high maintenance,
This is a match made in heaven here.
Yeah. And so she was like, you vouch for these guys, right? Because if they fuck this up, I know where you live now. Ha ha ha. And I was just like, yeah, they're good. And I'm thinking about the as yet unseen gun that she's alluded to.
Can I pause
God.
just 1 second? I just want to pause. I don't know if Greg's listened to last week's podcast, but the other two, holy shit, right? And then and then is anyone else?
We should just stop with the cursing shit right now. Like, we just
right. Yeah, seriously. The other part is anyone else seeing the girl from what was it with Vince Vaughn from Wedding Crashers? Right. Okay. I will find you. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I just had to throw that in.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, they're good. I said, look at their work. It's good. And it is. So off we go, and we're at the tattoo shop. And so I got a design. I have a bunch of designs in my mind that when the situation arises, I'll get. And I got one of the ones that I wanted to get, which was the guy from the cover of the book Catch-22. And so my guy, I don't want to use their shop's name based on the rest of the story, but my guy, my guy's really talented, and he did a good job as usual. But so her design idea was,
this is my guy. I'm going to set you up with JoJo in the back. This guy's mine.
Well, I mean, I go to my guy, but there's 3 guys at this shop, and they all do good work. She's a really simple design. Like, it's mostly like an line work, if you know what tattoos, there's not a lot of shading to it.
Can you, just for our listeners that don't?
So basically, like, if you're drawing a picture and you draw the outline of a picture, but then you have to color in the face, or you have to color in the outline. Mm-hmm. This was just an outline, basically. It was solid lines. There was no shading. It was a small design.
All black.
It's like a mother and son symbol. So she wanted to get this for her son. And so while we were drinking, she debated about where to put it. And I was like, well, if you're only going to get this tattoo, get it somewhere that's centered, like the back of your neck. And she had long hair. And I said, she's a businesswoman, successful businesswoman. I was like, you can always wear your hair down. I said, tattoos are more and more common, but you have such long hair, you could always, no one would see it if you didn't want them to. And so she's like, yeah, that's a good idea. So anyway, anyway, so she wants her son's name incorporated into the design. Her son's name is Chris. You know, they go on the internet, they find the design, they incorporate it, they show it to her. She says, let's do this. I'm sitting in my chair getting my tattoo. You know, the whole time I could hear her. She was like, am I 25% done or am I more like 40% done? And my guy keeps looking at me like, oh my God, I can't believe this girl. It's the simplest tattoo ever. And she's like, ouch, ouch, ouch. You know, is it almost done? You know, and so then it's done and mine's done. And I was like, hey, let me take a look at it. And I look at it and immediately I see that the name is misspelled. Immediately.
What goes through your mind?
First of all, I thought to myself, is there a chance that they have an alternative spelling of Chris?
And how do you ask that?
No. I knew not to ask that because I thought, well, there's no way. There's no alternative spelling that's this, you know? and it's spelled, instead of CHRIS, it's CRHIS.
Oh my God.
Oh,
was it like that on the layout?
I didn't want to be like, well, let me see the layout. You know, I don't want to start like doing an investigation. I didn't want to raise any alarm. You know what I mean?
But she did approve the layout, right? He did a layout.
She did. Yeah. And to this day, I don't know if he missed it when I don't know what happened exactly. Because she wrote the name down. Obviously, my tattoo guys are all Brazilian. English is their second language for sure. So I was like, oh my God. I mean, I had a lot of things going through my mind. I was like, oh, this is going to be a scene. I like this shop. I'm never going to be able to come back here. You know, and I felt bad. I was like, you know, I brought this girl here. I vouched for this place. And as a person with a lot of tattoos, it's pretty much it's tattoo 101 as a customer to double check anything you're getting written. Right. And I thought to myself, oh shit, I let this girl down. I should have done a better job of checking this, even though she had to check it too. But the ghoster in me was like, I can't say anything. I don't want to be the one to like bring this up. Because she's like, it's small. It's on the it's small.
The doors.
It's small and it's on the back of her neck. You know, so they hand her like a hand mirror. She's standing in front of a full length mirror, holding a hand mirror, you know, and it's reversed because it's two mirrors. And like, you know, she's looking at it, and like, oh yeah, it looks pretty good because the design was, you know, executed just fine. But it's the Chris is like, you know, it's maybe the length of a fingernail. Like it's not long. It's not big letters. So she can't read it in two mirrors on the back of her neck. She can't tell that it's fucked up.
Yeah, I was just thinking that the ice melting earlier probably had some effect on her judgment in the situation as well. No,
absolutely, yeah. And so I was just like, oh shit, and again, the tattoo, like the shop manager looked at it. I was like, oh yeah, it looks good. But I detected like a pause from her as well. Like I thought to myself, she sees this is fucked up too. And so I thought about, what should I do? Should I pull the shop manager aside and explain it? But again, cowardly me, I just said, fuck it. I'm not saying that.
Let's get some ice cream.
Yeah. You know, if you've ever gotten a tattoo recently, like, you know, the artists, they take pictures for Instagram and she's like, here, take photos. She's getting photos of this thing airdropped to her left and right. and she's looking at these airdrop photos and I'm just kind of waiting.
Oh my gosh.
I'm waiting. I'm like, it's about to go down. Like, she's going to notice. It's about to go down. She's going to notice. Prepare your look of surprise.
Tightening his shoelaces so he can run.
Yeah. But she doesn't notice. So they bandaged her up, and she was like, "Okay, let's go sing karaoke." And I was like, "Okay."
Islands on the stream. Let's go.
Yeah. Off we went to the karaoke bar. It's called the Dive Bar, and it's like it lives up to its name. It looks like a crowd of regulars, like locals. It doesn't look overly touristy, and it's like a beer and shot kind of bar with karaoke. And so in we go. We're both bandaged, so people were like, "Oh, you guys just got tattooed from the place down the street." We were like, "No, we came from another shop." We order our drinks. She's chatting up, making friends with these bar people, and I go up on stage to sing, and so I'm singing my song.
What'd you sing?
Well, I have a couple of standards. I started off with one of my standards, which is New York, Sinatra.
At least it wasn't My Way. That's one of them. I
like that one too. Yeah. So I'm up on stage singing New York, New York when I hear a blood-curdling scream. And I look over and I'm not exaggerating, she's flailing at the bar. Like she knocks over her drink and somebody else's drink. She's flailing, and she's screaming, ah! Like blood curdling, like somebody just stuck a knife in her ribs, dun, 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 dun. And so I can see this happening. And I knew exactly what was happening. Somebody told her, or something. She like, and I can see like people kind of look like
they're pointing at Craig.
She's literally like wobbling. Like people are like holding her up. She's so shot, So I'm like
911.
So I'm thinking to myself, should I keep singing?
How far along were you? Was it like the beginning?
About mid-song.
Yeah. So point of no return.
I felt like I had.
The show must go on.
I felt like I had to keep going.
Yeah.
I finished. I kept singing, and I finished the song.
Does she see you looking at her while you're singing?
No. She was like in a deep, dark place, man. She was like flailing
in my
flailing, screaming.
So clearly.
Kicks the show up a notch, starts doing.
I mean,
the kicks to the music. Dun, dun.
So my song, I hand my microphone back, and I hop off stage, and I walk over, and she's like looking at me. I mean, she's weeping, but there's also anger in her eyes.
Right.
And Greg says, "Did you not enjoy my song?"
They were like, I was like, what? I had to feign like
not a Sinatra fan.
Perplexity. I was like, what's going on? And she was like, they fucked it up. They misspelled it. You need to call them. They need to fix this now. Blah 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 blah. And I was like, they're closed. I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, so apparently she had sent one of these airdrop photos to her son, Chris. Found out this later. He wrote back something to the effect of, are you kidding? They misspelled my name, And so she was like, they misspelled it. I was like, what are you talking about? Let me see. And so I looked and I was like, oh my gosh, they did. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
And she was like, I'm not leaving Fort Lauderdale until they fix this. I'm going to sue them and blah, 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 blah.
I'm moving in with you. Until
And she had told me one of the things she told me the night before was that she'd recently traveled and had a dispute with a hotel, and she was blowing them up online and on Facebook. That's one of that's a key element of the story. That's one of the reasons I was afraid, because she was so ballistic about this hotel that she traveled to. And then with the Wi-Fi situation at the hotel in Fort Lauderdale,
you should have known better.
This girl is a Yelp warrior. Whatever.
Yeah. Even if it had gone well, you're concerned that. So Greg looks down at the little tattoo. He looks like you're the last one, buddy.
It's a wild scene. Like there's people comforting her. Like, I mean, it's an older crowd of like regular locals, all local like drunks, And there's like some people are comforting her. There's some people who are chuckling, and like I hear a few no regrets.
Now, which camp were you in, Greg? Were you in the comfort camp, or were you back and forth? Or
I was in the comfort camp. I wasn't. No.
Externally, you were in the comfort camp. Internally,
I was like, teeny weeny. It's easily fixed. Like the second I saw that it was misspelled at the shop, I was like, oh, there's a million ways you could do it. But so I was just like, oh no, oh my God, I'm so sorry. But like the bartender,
was she sharing with the crowd that it was your tattoo? In other words,
I think they could have deduced that she wasn't like presenting her case.
He did this to me.
But she was like, you vouch for them, blah blah blah. And I was just like, oh God, I'm gonna get them. I'm putting them out of business. Blah blah blah. They have no business tattooing people. Blah blah blah.
Meanwhile, Greg's like, look at my arm, folks.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, they're nice. They're nice people. They made a fucking spelling error. It is bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not defending a tattooer. She wrote her son's name correctly. Of that, I have no doubt.
Right.
This guy fucked it up, but he's not a criminal, for God's sake. You know what I mean?
Right.
The bartender is like, I'm so sorry. There's a tattoo shop 2 doors down from us and they're open. And I was like, come on. With drinks in hand, we walk down to the tattoo shop 2 doors down. I'm almost carrying her. She's like an injured, like I'm like dragging her off a battlefield. Like she's like limping along. She's limping along with me, coming along with me into this. I drag her into this new tattoo shop, and she's still wailing and screaming at the top of her lungs.
Oh, great! They're excited to see her.
Yeah. There was one guy tattooing there, and he was all by himself. He came running out of the back of the shop. I think he thought we'd just been in a drive-by. The way I was like carrying her in, and he's like, "Oh, what's going? What?" He was like, and I was like, "Hey, we just left another shop. She got a tattoo. They misspelled her son's name. She's very upset. Can you fix it?" And he's like, "Let me see." And he's like giving me like he's shooting me amused looks.
Well, she's with you.
Right. He's shooting me like, he looks at it. It's little, and he's like, yeah, I can. He's like, it's going to be okay. We're both like, it's going to be okay. It's all right. We're going to fix this. Don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry. And he was like, yeah, I can just thicken up the lines. My only question is, do you want me to reincorporate your son's name somewhere? She's like, no, just fix it. Fix it. Oh, just fix it. So he takes her back, and like 20 minutes later, it's fixed. Thicker line. It looks good. You can't even tell the name was there.
Yeah.
And she's like, and he was like, hey, can you get our picture? Like, he wants to post this on Instagram. And I was like, hey, listen, dude, I'll take, he's a picture with her and with the changes and all that sort of thing. And so then, I was like, you know what? Why don't we call it a night? We've both been through a lot, She's like, yeah, that's a good idea. So I've had a little bit of contact with this girl since, and she was like, I really want to thank you for being there for me last weekend and taking care of that tattoo situation. I want you to know I don't, it's not your fault in the least. I should have checked the spelling when he showed me the design, and I blah, 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 blah. We should hang out. Let's go do, like, she put it out there that she wanted to hang out some more. And I was like, yeah, I'm open to that. But you know what? It has seemingly fizzled from there, and it's probably for the best.
So you didn't get each other's name tattooed on your.
No. Oh, hold on, guys. Pause 1 second. I got to put my charger in. Hold on.
That sure sounded like that curse was working out pretty well as that story got going.
Unbelievable, right?
God.
That's crazy. How many of you guys think that had the tattoo shop not refunded it, Greg would have paid it out of his pocket and then just never talked to her again? Yeah.
That would have been mine. Yeah, that's exactly what I would have done.
Wow.
So, I mean, it wasn't like I was just overslept,
So how many consecutive hours did you spend with this girl?
All this happened. It was almost exactly 24 hours. Like, I started chatting with her on Saturday night around 8 or 8:30 or 9, and I got home Sunday around 8:39, and I was like, holy Moses, what a bunch of shit that just went down in the space of 24 hours.
Sounds like one of those movies you'd see on the Lifetime channel or something like that.
Oh, it was quite a 24 hours. I mean, and I'll be honest, guys, I found her very attractive and kind of cool. It's a shame that I think this crazy situation may have, cost me the shot at dating somebody who I kind of dug a little bit, but oh well. Oh my God, guys. I just got a text from her. Holy Moses. Oh my God.
Yeah.
A little insight to Greg's life. Hold on, let me plug in my phone. It's been dead for how long? And oh, look.
Oh, happy what?
Happy Sundog.
Hey, happy Sundog.
All
right. Maybe I have the power to curse. Maybe I also have the power to bless.
Ah, there we go.
Okay. Yeah, this is okay. Well, I have the power to end this segment. I'm going to do that right now. So, but we do have. Look, we got some listener feedback, and GK, we actually got an email that I think we need your expertise.
Okay.
To help resolve a listener's problem. So
okay,
let's
good.
go ahead and take a break.
This person must be really fucked up. Okay,
This is
they went to a tattoo shop and
no, not quite. But I do say that I'm actually happy for them that they reached out to us, and I say that without being tongue in cheek. This is not me trying to be cute. I really do think that you could help them.
Oh, good. Okay,
yes.
yeah.
So let's take a quick break, and we'll come right back.
Later.
Well, welcome back, Balked Nation. But we did get an email. I mean, we get feedback through Twitter, through Instagram, through Facebook. This one came an email, and it's a little long, but I think there's a reason why. The subject line is high and tight.
High and tight.
And GK, I really think that we can help this person. So it's AB Crew. Not sure if you guys do the advice thing, but I've recently found myself in a situation that I'm having a hard time with, and I feel I could benefit from some advice from you guys. Guessing mainly GK and Swag. No offense to the boring married guys. Fucker. That was my edit right there. For about 6 months now, I've been having sex with my dealer. It's cool. Just weed. Oh. Not a relationship. Oh. Just sex. It happened late one night, and ever since, whenever I need to see her, I end up getting a discount, so to speak. That's a hell of a deal for me! Exclamation point.
Okay.
I agree.
I don't hear any problems yet.
Right. So far.
However, not too long ago, while I was there, another girl came by to pick up, and we kind of hit it off and ended up going out a couple of times. And things started getting serious. And we're together like all the time now. The problem is that my dealer found out, and she is really pissed. She stopped selling to the girl I'm with, so now I'm the only one that can hook up for both of us.
Oh, shit.
She is the only plug around, so I have to go get enough for both of us now. But every time I go, she quote unquote makes me have sex with her. It's not that I don't physically enjoy it, but the girl I'm with has no idea, and I feel bad lying to her.
Oh,
I really like this girl, and I don't hate the sex, and I really like weed. So what the fuck should I do? P.S. Quitting weed is, all caps, not an option. Signed, Dazed and Confused.
Obviously.
Dallas, Texas.
Okay, so he's got his priorities in order. That's good.
Yeah, so if we lay him out, right, he wants to stay with this gal that he met. This is a really important connection. He cannot give up the weed, but he's feeling kind of bad.
I think he has there's a couple of good options that don't involve giving up weed, because obviously this guy doesn't want to give up weed. You know? That's
clear, right? Right.
Yeah.
And frankly, who would? If they're listening to this podcast, they kind of need it, right? I mean,
yeah. God knows I do to get through it. I mean...
Option one is, instead of trying to move mountains, he just makes peace with the guilt that he's feeling and says that's the price of his love of weed, is have sex with his dealer. So option one is do nothing. It's a victimless crime. You know what I'm saying? Like, just keep doing what you're doing. If the other girl doesn't know, just live with the guilt.
It's to her benefit as well, right?
We all live with guilt.
Yeah. Some more than others, but yeah.
So, that to me, that's like, okay, well, if I have to feel guilt about something, that's not a bad thing to have to feel guilt about. Man up and have sex with it, for fuck's sake. Have sex
keep
with
it going.
And he's getting a discount.
You're right. You're saving money, right? I wonder if he's passing the discount on to the other girl. She's like, why are you getting this so cheap?
Yeah. This guy has like an odd, like, moral smorgasbord that he's picking.
Right.
He wasn't feeling bad about breaking the law in Texas and having sex with a drug dealer. Now he's feeling bad about lying to his pothead girlfriend about having sex with a drug dealer. Like, he's like,
right.
Mr. Commitment here. Make bigger purchases, save up your money, and make bigger buys.
Ooh.
So that you don't have to have sex as
less
frequently.
often.
Okay.
Huh.
Okay. So you're big boxing it, right? You get the large portion.
Yeah.
So that's one solution. Here's the other solution. If you're a guy, we've been talking a little bit about bro code this podcast. This guy has a pot dealer who must be, reasonably attractive, I guess. If
you would think.
I think he said. Well, didn't he say that it was?
Yeah, it wasn't unpleasant.
Yeah.
Which, on the whole scheme of things.
Look around at your circle of friends, dude. I'm sure there are a bunch of other potheads just like you, and be like, all right, which one of you guys is going to take over for me?
Pick up the slack.
get your one or two best looking friends to go with you, and then tell the pot dealer, like, hey, remember when we picked up yesterday? Remember that guy who was with me? He really thinks you're hot, and hook up your sex starved pot dealer.
Replace yourself
with one of your really good looking friends and give him a little bit of love,
Or just go to the gas station by Jack's house and get some of that rhino goat stuff.
So that's a good idea, right?
Right. That was going to be my advice, right? Grab a couple of those pills just so you can keep up the back and forth, right? I like the second one. The second one's kind of a win-win, right? Because then you still get what you want. You keep the person on your side happy, and you're hooking up a buddy too. Yeah. So the next time you see him, you're like, hey, give me a joint. He's like, what? You're like, dude, I know you're getting the discount now.
So GK, I just throw this complicated problem to him. He's got 3 options right off the bat.
Boom, boom, boom.
But I got more. I got 2 more.
Oh,
okay. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't.
He's been through this one already.
This is chapter 12.
So then, the other option would be, now again, this is probably a less high probability, but, start exploring with both girls, like how they feel about like a menage a trois.
That was that's where I was going to.
Of course. That's what
that's kind of, that we knew that was Swags, right? But that's kind of dangerous territory, right? Because once you embark on that discussion, there's no coming back from that, right?
True.
That's true.
Yeah. It either goes well or you're right.
You just say I was high. I'm sorry. I was just being silly because I was high.
And there's definitely casual ways to get into the conversation. It's not something you start with, hey, would you like to blank? You know what I mean? You're walking on the beach and you're like, oh, that's a cute bathing suit, or and then just kind of build it up from there to see what kind of reactions you get. And eventually you'll hit a point where you're like, all right, I'm good. I'm safe. This is.
You say, hey guys, let's watch that movie. What was that movie with Matt, with Denise Richards?
Oh, Wild Things.
Wild Things.
My.
He's like, guys, let's watch Wild Things.
Yes.
And just like, wow, that's
Nev
crazy.
Campbell.
Can you imagine that? Yeah.
Nice.
Now I know why he asked these two and not us, Joe.
Joe's answer was move. That was
right. I'm trying to figure out how to get out of doing laundry. That's what I'm fucking planning that shit out. And I'm not walking on a beach either. These guys, they've already got movies lined up and questions lined up. And
now here's the most forceful of the options: is he could phone in an anonymous tip to the local authorities and have her arrested, for dealing drugs, and then just wait till the market forces in his area a new dealer to emerge, like to make a big buy.
Oh yeah.
Make a big buy, have a nice month-long supply, and then phone in a tip that she's a drug dealer, have her arrested and thrown in jail, and just trust that market forces will prevail. She has a supplier. The march of commerce goes on.
Yeah, supply and demand, absolutely. Yeah. I'm not sure where my moral compass is exactly, but that one bothers me a lot more than just lying to the other chick and continuing to buy.
I didn't say it was the best option.
He's just laying out options.
Yeah. No, it is an option. And you're right. Eventually, supply and demand. It'll find its way, right?
It would kind of, let's be honest. It's not like this drug dealer is some innocent person. She's coercing this guy into having sex. Mm-hmm. If the drug dealer were a male and the writer were a female, we would say that's a great option. Send that pervert's ass to jail.
Yeah.
Because it's a woman, we're laying off of her a little bit, but she's like,
and because we're guys, I think,
yeah,
right?
Wait,
weed and sex?
Yeah. But she's kind of a bully, you know what I mean? Like withholding this precious weed from this guy,
Touche.
Well, she's specifically withholding it from his girlfriend.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
She's a thug.
Well, with the assumption that we're getting the true story.
Our listeners don't lie.
No, touche.
That's why they come to us. They don't have to. It doesn't matter.
Good point.
So, DC, Dazed and Confused.
There you go. We don't have an answer, but we have a multitude of answers for you to choose from.
Right. I think over and above, right? Now,
right.
So I'd love to hear back. I'd love to hear from DC after he hears this and decides what to do. I'd love maybe in a couple of weeks to hear, what he decided to do and see how it went.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, see if it involves a karaoke bar and someone screaming. But okay, so this is weird. So normally, we get the Instagram, Twitter stuff. We get a lot. People throw up, but We don't get a lot of email. I don't think email's kind of a big thing.
What is that email address if someone did want to?
It is atlasbalked@gmail.com. All right, gentlemen. Well, listen, I love you guys. It was a great show today. Thank you. I'll see what I can do, put it together. Hope you'll be happy with it. Glad you're alive, Greg.
I'm glad I'm alive too.
And just know that I was the one guy that didn't have you dying in the possibility. So I just want you to know I'm glad you're alive.
These guys were worried that I was dying and like, oh my God, that's why Greg isn't here. Tim was like, no, he's just laying on the couch lazily. That son of a bitch.
There you go.
Well, truthfully, we were just wondering how we were going to break up your prospects for the rest of
Listen to how he twists it, right? I think Tim actually said for you to send your microphone to Justin.
Oh,
yeah, I kind of remember that.
I think you guys are ready to replace Greg, but somehow I get all the ire in my direction. So
yeah, that was me. Actually, I said that.
You guys are fucking throwing shade all across the podcast. Tim gets the fucking Thanks, guys. I feel like the dad of this podcast.
You are the authority figure on the podcast.
Somehow. Yep, just keep providing, keep doing it.
You kind of are the dad of this podcast.
That's true. Right.
He sends the link to tell us what time to get in the car.
That's why I'm going to go fucking drink right now. I'm going to go drink. I'm going to go fucking drink.
I'm going to go watch it rain.
All right. See you guys. I love you.
Talk good, fellas.
Yep. All right.
I would have assumed that somebody like sexually assaulted her or stabbed her in the neck with a broken beer bottle the way she was carrying on. And I wouldn't have kept thinking in that situation, but I knew exactly what was happening.
Much like the end of all of Greg's relationships, he knew it was coming before it really got started, so he was prepared.
Right. He's one. I was just saying good morning. My offer of friendship with Greg was sealed over a bag of Cheez-Its. Like it wasn't. It wasn't cool. It wasn't like we fucking were at a show and, listen, I said, here, eat this shit food with me, please. Because I want to eat it. And I think you're probably going to eat it too. And he did. And it was good.
I'm just trying to help out.
This is why Greg is so much of a better storyteller than you, Tim.
Yeah. Again, never claimed to be a good. I've had in 76 episodes 2 stories that I think are actually, and I worked hard on preparing those stories, sweating when I'm saying them, editing them for hours. I'm not a storyteller. That's why I fucking brought 3 writers in on this show. For Christ's sake. Hey Tim, what's one of your biggest weaknesses? You can't tell a fucking story worth shit. All right, well, bring some storytellers on.
Yeah, you told the Bennett story really well until you got to the earplugs for Jack.